What you're about to see are real combat footage, the harsh reality of war in Ukraine. And what I'm about to show you now, most people wouldn't believe if it wasn't recorded on video. Look carefully at this land. Every crater, every trace of an explosion tells a story of blood, sweat, and determination. This land has already been the subject of disputes. Craters don't appear by chance. Each one could have cost a life. Each explosion left a memory of brutal battles on this land. This is what Ukraine's front line looks like. Hell of earth and fire, where every position is worth its weight in gold, where every trench can mean the difference between holding the line and losing territory to invaders. In this trench, you're now seeing 6 Russian soldiers are advancing with a clear goal: to drive out the Ukrainian defenders, occupy the position, and establish a control point. And trenches, even with drones and technology in modern warfare, they're still extremely important. They provide protection from direct fire and shrapnel, but can also turn into deadly traps. These are narrow corridors where there's nowhere to run. The 6 men you see are armed, trained, and moving as a single unit. They move tactically with weapons at the ready, checking every corner, every shadow, every possible place for an ambush. One of them rises up to get a better view of the terrain ahead. They're confident, thinking they control the situation, but they don't. What happens next is astonishing. On the other side of this trench is a soldier from the legendary K2 Battalion, an elite unit of the armed forces of Ukraine. It's known for its fierce resilience, never retreating when the homeland needs it. K2 Battalion. And this isn't just another military unit. These are warriors who specialize in conducting direct combat operations, known for their deadly coordination between infantry, drones, and artillery. These are soldiers who have turned the defense of every centimeter of Ukrainian land into a matter of personal honor. And among these warriors was Vadym. He realized that the Russians were coming to his shelter. His position, a section of Ukrainian land he had sworn to defend, and he had only seconds to decide what to do. Imagine 6 armed men advancing on you, and you're alone. Most of us in such a situation would probably just freeze. Our legs would give way. Our heart would beat so hard that we'd feel it in our throat. The mind would scream to retreat, hide, call for reinforcements, do anything but this. Face 6 opponents alone. Any military manual prohibits engaging in battle with a force 6 times superior to you without support. But Vadym was made of different stuff. He didn't even have time to put on body armor. The helmet also remained behind. There was no time to think about personal safety. Vadym made a choice: speed of reaction instead of personal protection. Every second counted. He preferred to be without protection, but in a combat position, than to be safe but arrive late in that critical moment. Only he, his weapon, and his unwavering determination would not allow these invaders to take a single meter of Ukrainian land. Vadym opens fire. The sound of shots thunders through the trench like thunder. 6 Russians, all 6, are frightened more than ever in their lives. They came expecting to find an empty position, abandoned due to the pressure of Russian advancement, or at best, weak resistance that they could quickly suppress thanks to their numerical superiority. Instead, they encountered pure fury. The invaders try to respond. Their hands desperately search for cover. Their weapons try to determine where the fire is coming from. But they quickly realize they've gotten into the biggest mess of their lives. The initiative they had was lost in a matter of seconds. The momentum of the attack was broken by the iron will of the defender. Fear, which they hadn't experienced before, now takes hold of each of them. They begin to retreat. And here you need to understand something important, namely, what happened, what Vadym did. Even if it was an instinctive reaction and not a pre-planned plan, it still follows a devastating military tactical principle. By opening fire and forcing the Russians to retreat, he fixed them, that is, broke their attacking impulse and put them into survival mode. And the soldiers began to retreat chaotically. They become ideal targets, emerging from protected positions, running across open fields, losing coordination, and thinking only of escape. It's at this moment that the drones and artillery of K2 Battalion come into play, which were already in ambush, observing the area and waiting for the right moment to act. This coordination between infantry on the ground and air support, even if it was a quick and not fully planned reaction, is what makes Ukrainian forces so deadly. The Russians fell into one of the most dangerous situations on the modern battlefield, retreating in panic under fire. Vadym stops for a moment to reload, those few crucial seconds when a soldier is vulnerable, when everything can change. And at this very moment, a powerful explosion shakes the trench. It could have been a Ukrainian drone tracking the group, or it could have been a grenade. Complete chaos. Earth, smoke, and shrapnel fly through the air. The Russians retreat even further. Now they're not just surprised, but truly frightened. One of them stands in place, disoriented and spinning his head, trying to figure out where the shooting is coming from. This offensive maneuver has become a real nightmare. You can almost see panic overtaking him. That very moment when a soldier realizes everything has gone wrong. And Vadym, well, he doesn't retreat, but advances a little further along the trench, continuing to press, showing the invaders that this land has an owner, and this owner is not going to give it up. Realizing that completing the task would not succeed, the price would be too high. That single Ukrainian was more determined than all six combined. The invaders make the only remaining decision. They run back to their positions, abandon their assignments, and save their own lives. While exiting the trenches onto open ground, they completely lost the narrow protection the trench provided. What seemed like a trap before was now the only thing keeping them alive, and they left it. And Vadym and K2 Battalion were not alone, not at all. Ukrainian artillery was already tracking their positions. Drone operators, modern warriors who fight through screens but with deadly accuracy, were already in the air. Their cameras had already detected targets, and the hunt began. K2 Battalion is marked by this perfect coordination between their soldiers on the ground and drone and artillery operators. This military machine does not forgive invaders. You can see smoke from explosions multiplying across the battlefield. One after another, soldiers who dared to invade Ukrainian land were overtaken by justice that comes from the skies. One of them tries to hide among the trees, perhaps thinking that cover from leaves will protect him from the electronic eyes of drones. He runs, crouches, waits, but the trees don't save him. Ukrainian drones are controlled by operators who know every centimeter of this terrain. who have already hunted dozens of invaders who tried to use the same tactics. The explosion that strikes him is precise, calculated, inevitable. Another runs across an open field without purpose, desperate just to get away from hell, looking at the sky. You feel the terror in his gesture because he knows that death is coming from above. He knows that somewhere kilometers away, a Ukrainian operator is directing a small drone stuffed with explosives directly at him. He even shoots at the drones, pointing his rifle at the sky, as if that could change his fate, as if bullets would stop what's approaching. He runs a few meters, stumbles on uneven ground, scarred by previous battles, gets up staggering, and shoots at the sky again. Desperate bursts that don't hit anything but empty air. This would never solve the problem. A third Russian soldier moves through improvised trenches, searching for any hole to hide in, points his rifle at the sky, trying to shoot down anything that flies over him. Desperation is visible in his every movement. A few seconds later, a first-person view drone, that very small, modified quadcopter that has become a real nightmare for Russian invaders, finds its target with surgical precision. The last soldier wanders through the destroyed terrain, completely lost, not knowing where to go, without communication with his unit, probably not even really understanding what happened. He was probably wondering how a group of 6 people turned into a solitary hunt, or how a simple mission to capture a position turned into a struggle for survival. His desperation is felt in every uncertain step. Further ahead, several explosions illuminate the field with smoke. He runs toward the smoke, perhaps in search of comrades who could help him. Maybe he's just lost in the chaos and panic, no longer able to think clearly. And then boom, another explosion, another invader who won't return home. K2 Battalion didn't let a single invader escape. Not one of them managed to complete their mission. Not one of them occupied the position they came for. Many called Vadym the Ukrainian Rambo after this footage appeared. Others called him a real Terminator, as if he's some invulnerable machine. But the truth is much simpler, and in some ways even stronger. He was a hero of flesh and blood, an ordinary person who, faced with the impossible, accomplished something extraordinary. But his story, this incredible story of one man's courage against 6, determination against numerical superiority, ends in a way that breaks the heart of anyone who understands the real price of freedom. Vadym, the man who single-handedly confronted 6 invaders without hesitation, without protective equipment, who didn't retreat where any sane person would have retreated, who defended his shelter like a lion defends its territory, who showed the whole world what it means to be Ukrainian. Later, he died in battle. He gave his life for Ukraine, for the freedom of his people, so that invaders like those would not step on Ukrainian land without paying the highest price, so that their cities, their families, their nation would remain free. And what do you think was going through Vadym's head at the moment when he decided to single-handedly confront 6 invaders? Leave your opinion in the comments. If you admire the courage of the Ukrainian people and want more people to know such stories, share this video and subscribe to the channel. Until the next video.